come, Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win. Now the 2-1.
Line drive to the base. Just as the score the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is saved. Saved at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
Have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines that sat when they were children and cheered their heroes.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable!
A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent. The Yankees now lead by a score of 3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Ford Field to win the 1960 World Series.
They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past.
The Pope arrived at Yankee Stadium. As one enthusiastic announcer put it, he is standing on second base.
Reggie Jackson. Long drive right field. It is goodbye. Big World Series. The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run.
Brackett throws. There's a long drive. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
The memories will be so thick, you'll have to brush them away from the faces.
The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings, long drive, left field. If it stays fair, it's gone. Home run! The Red Sox win. And the series is...
Lolich fires. Ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins.
Here's the pitch to Willie. There's a liner straight to Richardson. The ball game is over and the World Series is over. Willie McCovey hit it like a bullet. A line drive right
Baseball to mark the time.
The Oakland A's take. I'll tell you what, we're having an earth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Candlestick Park for Game 3 of the 1989 World Series.
It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again.
Frank Robinson, the right-hand batter.
Long drive to left field. Leva. Gets it back.
Base hit loaded, 1 out. Pena in a chance. The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it.
Ozzie with 1 out. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run. And the
Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
Broadcasted live.
Who wants to have some fun?
There are balls coming from all over the place. Left field, center field, right field. See, this is the kind of thing, quite honestly, right now, that makes you want to see the Chicago Cubs team lose.
Now, you just saying you want to have fun, or do you really want to have fun?
It'll be fun.
Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, and get them out of here? You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
That is the farthest thing in the universe from the truth.
Hello, everyone, live. It's the Dan Scott Show. And right there is your host, Dan Scott.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Thursday edition of the program. I am your host, Dan Scott. That is Forrest Stulting, and we're happy to have you with us on kind of an overcast day here in the upstate, but it's going to be a good day. Got a lot of great things lined up for you on the program today, and we're going to be rolling through a very, very quick hour. How you doing?
Doing well, man. Hope you're doing well, too.
Yeah, so far so good.
Good.
On the show today, at 10:45, we will have Doug Allison on Facebook. It says Doug Ken Allison, but you know how that it tries to immediately tag people when you start writing names.
He has not changed his name just yet, so he's still Doug Allison. So.
And Ken Allison is my friend and a former broadcaster many, many years ago. Over in the Anderson areas. Ken's about 120 now, I think.
That's it?
Yeah, something like that. But in any event, Doug Allison, who is the head coach of the nationally ranked Furman men's soccer program, will be with us at 10:45.
Nationally ranked. That's pretty important right there.
And we'll be looking at Forest 3 Things, which is going to take, among other things, an early look at college football coaches on the hot seat and some of the better matchups coming up this weekend. And then in the very next segment here in just a few moments, today is a very special anniversary. If you listen to the open of the show, you know that I've got the very famous "You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati" from Sam Weish here. And he accuses me of being the one person in America who keeps that alive and going now that it's 20-plus years old. But today... Actually, it was yesterday. Wednesday, the 13th, was a very special anniversary in the life of Sam Weish. And while it had everything to do with Sam and Jane, it had nothing to do specifically with Jane, his wife. Yesterday was the one-year anniversary of Sam Weish's heart transplant. And for last Saturday's tailgate show, I interviewed Sam about the anniversary, which was then upcoming. And we're going to play that interview for you here in a few moments, and you're going to hear from Sam himself exactly how close to death he was. In fact, the doctors, with him lying open on the table, had pretty much given up.
Wow.
And then I think the good Lord stepped. I don't think so. I know the good Lord stepped in. Anyway, that is coming up in the next segment. So we got a lot to get to today. You're gonna want to listen to that interview with Sam Weish, however, among other things.
Looking forward to hearing that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Sam is Sam's top shelf. He really is.
Oh, you got that right.
We always try to start with a few news and notes here on Furman's campus, though, before we go outside the Furman borders. What do we have going on?
All right, so the cross-country team, after sweeping their the Furman Invitational this past weekend in Greenville, they were awarded once again with the 2 runners of the week in the SoCon. On the men's side, Tanner Hinkle, a senior from Mason, Michigan, claimed the prize. He finished third with a time of 25 minutes and 39 seconds this past weekend. And on the women's side, Allie Buchowski took the honor for the second week in a row, the senior from Johns Creek, Georgia, as well as Sky Overton.
Yeah, so you remember that.
20 minutes and 30 seconds. She finished the time. She won the race with that time. Yeah, so just good stuff from them on the cross-country side. They continue to climb in the rankings as well, as I said on, I believe that was Tuesday. So that's just great stuff from them. Volleyball beat GW last night, Gardner Webb Bulldogs 3-0, and the women's soccer team beat South Carolina State 6-0 last night as well. And then I also want to mention this: the women's golf team, they are doing this fundraiser called to benefit Betsy King's Golf for Africa charity, coming up next weekend at their tournament here in Greenville, and it's Birdies for Water benefit. They will be raising money to certain charities that Betsy King founded back in 2006, and she's a Furman alumnus. She graduated in the 70s, I believe. Can't remember
more years than she would want to
admit
on camera.
Fair
I'm
enough.
Sure.
Yeah. And so the goal for this year is to raise $30,000, and each team participating in the event next weekend will will help raise money before the event, and they'll also raise money during the event if they cross certain barriers and they reach certain marks. That will raise more money for each program. So just really, really good thing that the women's golf team are doing here on campus to help a great cause started by former alumnus Betsy King.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. And we'd be remiss if we did not mention that the Greenville Drive are one win away from the South Atlantic League Championship.
So last night the Greenville Drive battled the Intimidators. They beat them 2-0, excuse me. And Jonathan Diaz pitched a gem last night. I believe I can't remember, what was it? Diaz deals a gem, I think was what Cam White said. We'll play on alliteration right there. 6 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, no earned runs. And then Hunter Smith came in to get the save. He pitched 2 2/3 innings, 1 hit, no walks, no Ks. But the big thing is the Drive did not give up any runs, and they put 2 on the board. Roldani Baldwin hit a home run, and Brett Netzer hit a double to score Santiago Espinal for the 2 runs that the Drive put on the board last night. And Game 3 is tonight at Fluor Field in Greenville, and a possible sweep is on the line tonight. So at 7 o'clock, please go on and drive down to downtown Greenville and see if the Drive can win their first ever South Atlantic League championship tonight in Greenville at 7 o'clock.
Just rooting like heck for them, and even more so for our buddy Ed Jensen, who has just got to be
he's fired
on
up.
Cloud 9 right now.
If you listen to his broadcast, man, he is in rare form. It is just unbelievable. It really makes you appreciate the game of baseball.
Well, Ed's always in rare form.
That's true. Yeah. You got to get the benefit of the doubt there.
Even rarer.
Yeah.
Or more rare. What's the?
He's well done.
Yeah, his rareness is well done. That's good. All right. That's what's going on campus, and we try to do that, and locally here with the Drive, try to do that every morning to update our Furman fans as we could try to give them something that they're not getting anywhere else on a daily basis. So we're going to take a quick break and come back, and when we do, we'll play the interview that I did on Saturday with Sam Weish. And again, you're really going to want to hear this. And on this 1-year anniversary, technically yesterday, of his heart transplant, how close he was to death, and to see him now is absolutely unbelievable. The show, as always, is brought to you by our friends at the Atlanta Bread Company. They are located in Cherrydale Plaza, right down the road from campus here. Breakfast there again this morning, and I'm beating the same drum every day, but the food is fantastic. They have a nice wide-ranging menu for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the people, though, are what make it so special. They're always smiling. The customer service is fantastic. Jeff Massey and his crew there are such a pleasure to visit, such a pleasure to deal with on a daily basis. So stop by. Enjoy the menu, and mostly thank them for continuing to sponsor the program and for allowing us to sustain what we're doing here while we're continuing to grow. In any event, as we go to break, you'll hear more about them, and then we'll return with more from Sam Weish coming up on the other side. This is The Dan Scott Show. We'll return in just a moment. The Atlanta Bread Company wants to make your dining experience as convenient as possible, especially if you're ordering takeout. Go online to atlantabreadcompany.com, place your order there, and pay for it too. Then, when you get to the restaurant at Cherrydale Point, you breeze right by the cash registers and go straight to the pickup counter where your food will be waiting. And speaking of food, try the new Shrimp Po' Boy, a delicious and surprisingly healthy addition to the already great menu. That's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherrydale Point in Greenville.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Hardware is your place. Williams Hardware has food for the whole family, from their famous Reuben to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT on pimento cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Hardware also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11, perfect before Furman home game. And don't forget the gift shop, which offers items for anyone on your list. Go see your friends at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at the Cafe at WilliamsHardware.com.
So you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR cell phone repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPR cell phone repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culver, today and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR cell phone repair at Cherrydale, 864-282-9097. Give it CPR today. Eleven minutes past the hour as we continue here live on Facebook Live, on Periscope, which of course is Twitter's live streaming platform, and on YouTube Live at the Dan Scott Show channel. And hopefully, before too many days are up, we'll be also streaming it on Furman's YouTube page as well. Our good friend Dwight Covington is on that, trying to make that happen for us here as quickly as possible. Coming up later, we have Doug Allison of the Furman men's soccer team, the nationally ranked soccer team. He'll be in studio with us here at 10:45, so stay tuned for that. But as I mentioned, right now we are going to talk or play an interview that I did on Saturday. Every game, of course, of the Furman football season, we have the Southern Fried Cotton Tailgate Show on the Furman Sports Network, Furman IMG Sports Network.
That's what you did there, Dan.
Yeah, you like that? I'm telling you, man, this new platform that allows us to do these things, this is going to be scary.
Oh, it is.
It really is.
You never know what's going to pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah. I'll get your face in full screen and just pop it up there on people.
I don't think you want to scare people away, though. I don't know. So
I don't want them throwing darts at their computer screen.
Hey, yeah, fair
but
enough.
anyway, well, one of the things that we do is we have a special guest in each broadcast. On the road, that guest is always Sports Information Director Hunter Reed, but here on campus, we try to incorporate other folks around Furman. Well, Sam Weish, of course, is a Furman graduate. He went on to play in the NFL, coach in the NFL with the Bengals, and as a head coach with the Bengals and the Buccaneers. Went to the Super Bowl 3 times as a player, as an assistant coach, and as a head coach. And since I've been in the area, he and I have become really, really good friends. He has been a supporter of this program in every form that we've had it. Last year, he was set to start the football season with us on the television side, as he had been in the previous seasons, when his heart issue that he'd had for many, many years suddenly took a very sudden and dangerous turn. And in fact, it got to the point where he was told, you've got to have a heart transplant or you're not going to live. I talked to Sam on Saturday. We were looking ahead 4 days to the upcoming anniversary, which was yesterday. 1 year later, that heart transplant is in the rearview mirror. How close was Sam Weish to death, and what's his perspective now? Here is that interview, and it's framed as that portion of the tailgate show, so just remember that as it opens up. But here is the interview with Sam Weish.
Southern Fried Cotton Tailgate Show continues here for the 2017 home opener, Furman and Elon. And not only are we happy to be joined, we are ecstatic to see Sam Weish, who will be in the television booth next to ours, getting ready for the broadcasts coming up a little bit later on today. It is, again, great to see you, and I know that you got an anniversary of sorts coming up next week. On one hand, I'm sure you wish you didn't have to celebrate, but on the other hand, you're awfully glad that you're around to celebrate it, right?
Absolutely. I tell you, I had a tremendous team of doctors. There were 7 surgeons that are involved in my heart transplant on September 13th, 2016. And so next week, whichever day of the week, I can't quite count them up yet, but we'll be celebrating a 1-year anniversary. And it's kind of the year, it's just a milestone saying, okay, we're pretty much going to let you go now. You've survived a year. Your heart has not been rejected. I've had 5 biopsies, no rejection showing at all. I've got 1 more. They're going to go through my left wrist this time and take a little tissue out of my heart. And if it's not rejected, which it's not going to be, I'm going to be able to do what I want to do. In the past, I've been having to do exercises and take a ton of pills.
We don't have time to go into the full story. And I know you've told it a number of times in the last year, but saw you out on the steps here earlier this week, and it's not hyperbole. You were a minute or two really away from not being here.
Yeah, really the doctors don't know if it was a minute or two or second or two, but it wasn't going to be an hour. I mean, we weren't talking hours now. We were talking minutes. The heart was on the helipad and was coming down the hallway. They have a way of monitoring that. And the doctors were literally saying, he'll never survive this. It's too late. They'd had me opened up. They'd already cut me open and cut my sternum in half. And so they were ready. And the doctors literally said, we don't think he's going to make it. But one doctor was very happy to say, he was from the South, by the way, he said, well, hell, he's going to die anyway. We might as well operate. We might learn something. And so I told him, I sure was glad. But one of the nurses told me, he said, Sam, you don't realize how close you were. That's probably the closest call we've had here. And he said, you had one foot in heaven and one wrapped around that gurney, and you would not let go. Something was will to live.
It's just great to see you back to your old cantankerous and ornery self, and you're looking good, and I'm assuming you're feeling good as well.
I'm looking pretty good, but I have a tip for you. Don't go to the dermatologist the week of your first TV broadcast. I've got bullet holes in my head right here, what looks like it. I'm going to put some makeup on there. If I could get Milton Berle's old makeup artist back in here to hit me, but yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting back into a normal routine, and I've really been living basically a normal routine with the extra exercises and my diet checks and so forth. And the prayers that have been coming in, I know I got them from you too. I could feel them, and they were coming from all over. We know of about 650,000 people that prayed for me while I was waiting, because they sent us messages on Facebook, email, or otherwise, by a letter or card and that kind of thing.
And maybe even a few from Cleveland, right?
Probably a few from Cleveland. In fact, the heart may be from there. I don't know. All I know is they got it back to the hospital just in time, and I don't know the donor. That's part of the deal, is until the donor's family, the loved ones, are ready to meet the recipient, which I am. I won't know who that is, but they make that call, and I'm hoping it's soon. I'd like to meet them.
As you prepare for your first broadcast here in the home opener on ESPN3, working with Bob Mahalik again, and you're also going to be one of the game captains, and you're going to be one of the honorary captains with a guy you're pretty familiar with. Stanford Jennings is going to be out there in the field with you.
Stanford's one of my favorite people in all the world. Next to you, you're number 17. He's 18.
Right.
But anyway, I drafted Stanford, or we, the Bengals, drafted Stanford in the third round when he graduated from Furman, and I'm so proud of what he's done with his life and the way he's conducted himself. Got a beautiful family, and I'm around him enough to know he is first class, so I'm going to let him call the heads or the tails. I'd call something like edge. I'd do something stupid.
There's no video evidence of that, by the way, is there?
Just everywhere.
Well, listen, we could talk X's and O's, but I thought it was more important to let people hear how you're doing, and it's just great to see. I know I'm being nice, and that's normally not how we operate, so just consider this a one-time thing.
I'm considering it the last-time thing, I'm sure. It's much more fun to be poking at each other every now and then, too, but you've been a good friend, Dan, through all of this, and I appreciate that. And I just want to tell you that the Furman family at large has been tremendous support. The football team last year, when I was really in the swing of whether I was going to live or die, sent me a beautiful poster with everybody's signature on it, and the heart that was placed on the back of their helmets meant so much to me. I can't tell you, laying in that room, knowing people were thinking about you helps.
All right, Sam. Good luck.
Thank you.
That's Sam Wyche. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more on the Tailgate Show after this on the Furman IMG Sports Network.
So that was a conversation with Sam Wyche back on Saturday, and yeah, he is back to his old ornery and cantankerous self. One of the things that we didn't get to in the interview because of the time constraints inside the Tailgate Show is the fact that his life's mission now is to encourage people to be donors.
Oh, absolutely.
And he and
one of the most important things you can do.
He and I talked about that for a long time before we even started the interview. The fact that it's very easy. All you have to do, and I had done this, my wife and I decided to do this a number of years ago. I don't know if you can see it here on my driver's license, but that little red heart that's right there, that signifies that when I die, that if there are any usable organs left, if I haven't messed them all up by the time that I go, that the doctors are to do and take whatever is usable and to try and save lives. One person's organs can save as many as 8 lives.
Wow.
Or impact as many as 8 people, I think. So and it's very simple. You just do it at the DMV. You can do it next time your license renews. If your license renewal is months, weeks, or years down the road, you can go get it redone and just check that box that, yeah, I want to be a donor. And because that's what saved Sam Weiss's life, that somebody was a donor. He told me, and you didn't hear this on the interview, Forrest, but he told me that the heart is coming down the hallway, and the doctors, as he said, they had pretty much given up hope. And the doctor said that the heart would have to be an absolute perfect fit in order for him to even have a chance. They had no time to pull a vein from his leg to graft in to make it fit.
Yep.
And the heart was not only a perfect fit, it was as perfect as it possibly could have been.
Wow.
And he said that his organs had started to turn brown from lack of blood. He said they got the heart in, got it stitched up, hit him with those paddles. The heart started beating, and within just a matter of a very few minutes, all those organs started to pink up again where they had not been getting blood. Now they were getting blood to them. And it was just, it's an incredible story. If you ever have a chance to listen to him tell it in full length and in great detail, take that opportunity, because it will seriously make you stop and think. It really will.
Absolutely. I mean, life and death is a pretty serious thing, and so just hearing that little tidbit right there definitely makes you very thankful for each and every day we have on this earth.
You get that right. All right, we'll step aside again, and when we come back, we'll get into Forrest's 3 things, and we'll try to jam all 3 of them in before we visit with Doug Allison, the Furman men's soccer coach. Nationally ranked Furman men's soccer coach. That's right. We'll do that when we come back. This is the Dan Scott Show, and we'll return in just a moment.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Hardware is your place. Williams Hardware has food for the whole family, from the famous Reuben to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT on pimento cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Hardware also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11, perfect before Furman home game. And don't forget the gift shop, which offers items for anyone on your list. Go see your friends at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at the Cafe at WilliamsHardware.com.
Say you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPO Cell Phone Repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culver, today, and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale, 864-282-9097. Give it CPR today. All right, 10:24, and we're back. Doug Allison coming up in about 20 minutes here in studio. I'm Dan Scott. That is Forrest Stulting. Before we get to Forrest 3 things, just a reminder about our friends at Hall's Chop House, located in downtown Greenville. Brand new sponsor, just signed on with us. Look, the steaks speak for themselves. They have these just incredible top quality cuts of meat. All of the side dishes and the ambiance to go with them. They also have room for your parties, your meetings. They can do it all for you, and it's conveniently located downtown. You're going to be hearing a lot more about them, a lot more about the menu, a lot more about the venue as we go on through the course of the next few months. But we're just excited to have Hall's Chop House on board with us as a sponsor here, and they encourage you to visit them in downtown Greenville today. Hall's Chop House, the Greenville Steakhouse. All right, let's go to your 3 things today.
Thing 1, we're going to do a little college football pick 'em and highlight 3 or 4 big-time games this weekend that are happening. And just want to mention, too, that last week I went 3-1 in the picks, and Dan went 1-3, so we'll see if that trend continues.
Were we picking straight up or against the spread?
Straight up.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah.
I'll take on the personality of another talk show host in the region. If they had done what I told them they should have done, they'd have won the game. I don't know what they were thinking.
That rings true.
Yeah. Right. Anyway.
All right. Game number 1 and thing 1. This is probably the biggest matchup of the weekend, and it involves the Clemson Tigers once again. It is number 3 Clemson Tigers visits number 14 Louisville this weekend. It's going to be a big rematch of last year's thriller that Clemson narrowly escaped in Death Valley.
Matter of fact, all 3 of the meetings since Louisville joined the conference, I believe, have been 6 points or less.
Oh wow, and, 6 points or fewer.
Whatever. The fact is that Clemson's won them all, and they've all been by 6 points or fewer.
Thank you. All right, just gonna get a little diagram of what's going on. So the Cards O-line versus Tigers D-line. That's going to be one of the biggest matchups to look for in that game. And the Cardinals O-line has had problems last year and this year with protecting Lamar Jackson. But last year in that game, Jackson gained 452 yards against probably a better defense than the Tigers have this year, quite possibly. But also, another big key will be the Cards' defense and how they will contain Kelly Bryant. And if they stop the Tigers' running game and make Kelly Bryant beat them through the air, I think the Cards will come away with the victory and get a little revenge from the past 3 meetings. And I'm picking the Louisville Cardinals in Kentucky.
That's going to be their game plan, to try and make Kelly Bryant beat them. I thought, all things considered, Kelly Bryant played well against Auburn. I think once the defense kind of got on the roll it was on, the offense went very conservative. But he made some nice throws and made some good decisions with the football. The key is going to be, as always, don't turn it over. Don't make the silly mistake. Lamar Jackson is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he's got a good group of wide receivers around him. Their offensive line is not good.
Very talented receivers.
Their offensive line is not good. It was not good last year. It might be worse this year. Their running game is so-so, and their defense is not as good as it was a year ago. So the question to me is going to come down to, what does the Clemson defense do against Lamar Jackson and that offense? And I think they'll make just enough plays. I think this game's going to stick right to the script, and I think this is going to be another one-score football game, but I think Clemson will find a way to pull it out.
Fair enough. I'll disagree with you on that one.
Of course
for sure.
You will. Because that's what you do.
You got that right. Matchup number 2. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party down in Jacksonville, Florida, features the number 23 Tennessee Volunteers and the 24-ranked Florida Gators. The Gators have had a hard time scoring.
All right, so you're good at correcting me. I'm going to correct you now.
Oh, please do.
That's the wrong matchup called. That's not called the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
You sure?
Florida, Georgia.
Oh, excuse me. You're right.
Yeah.
Got ahead of myself there. Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
The Gators have had a hard time scoring points this year. Obviously, they've had only one game in Michigan due to Hurricane Irma. They've had a QB carousel the past few years, and they kind of will continue this year. I think what the Vols faced against Georgia Tech will help them against Florida, because they faced obviously a really tough option team in the Yellow Jacks, and I think that kind of will help hunker them down a little bit and just be more fine-tuned on the defensive side of the ball. And Josh Kelly, the running back, will have a big game for the Volunteers, I think. And Jim McElwain, I heard the interview this past week on it for his press conference. He just sounded defeated. So I'm picking Tennessee to win this game, Dan.
I'm going to agree with you. But both of these programs are shells of what they used to be, and that's why they both have recent head coaching hires. The bottom line here is that for all of the fun that people like to poke at Butch Jones, the champions of life last year and everything, I think their program has moved a little further ahead than Florida's had. Now, that may not be saying a whole lot,
sure,
but I believe that's the case. So I'm going to take Tennessee to win this one on the road.
On the road,
and to knock off Florida. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir. Last matchup that we're going to, at least that I've highlighted, maybe Dave wants to highlight one or two more himself, but USC Trojans will battle the Texas Longhorns in Pasadena this weekend, and I think the Trojans have too many weapons on offense. Longhorns, they ran for over 400 yards last week, but that was against a much different opponent in San Jose State, and I think Sam Darnold really had a big showing out party last weekend against I'm blanking. Who did he face? Stanford Cardinal, excuse me. So I think that kind of is going to help boost him a little bit and have a really big game this weekend, obviously.
And I was just enjoying you sitting there dangling
I was like,
on that hook.
I knew who it was, but I was like, I just couldn't find it. But I think this is going to be a blowout for USC, and this is the first time that these two teams have met since the 05-06 BCS National Championship game in the Rose Bowl. So I think the Trojans will be looking for a little bit of revenge from that loss in 05 and 06, and I don't think this will be a very close game come the second half.
I would tend to agree with you on this one as well.
This has not been very fun.
No, I'll take the Trojans.
There you go.
On that one.
Anything you want to highlight there, Dan?
Yeah, let's talk about Kentucky and South Carolina.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, this is a quote unquote rejuvenated South Carolina team after opening the season 2-0, wins over NC State and Missouri. That juggernaut Missouri team that was so good that it fired its defensive coordinator 2 games into his second year. And interestingly enough, the South Carolina seniors have never beaten Kentucky.
Oh, man.
Kentucky,
so they're gunning for the Wildcats.
They are 0-3 against the Wildcats. This is always a big game in my household because my wife is a Kentucky fan, and we are surrounded by Clemson and South Carolina fans. So,
no doubt.
The last 3 years, she's been able to take away bragging rights in this matchup. For the sake of marital harmony, I'm going to say that Kentucky's going to make it 4 straight and burst that South Carolina bubble in Williams-Brice.
Wow. See, I think that's going to be the difference this year, Dan, is that the Gamecocks are going to want revenge on those three losses in back-to-back.
You don't think they wanted revenge last year after 2 straight losses?
I'm sure they did, but it just didn't work out last year with a young quarterback in Jake Bentley. He was not ready to take that hold of the offense quite yet. I think this year is a much different year, and I think he's kind of understood the offense a little bit better and has more confidence back there in the pocket against an SEC defense. And I think being in Columbia with that rowdy crowd that they bring out there every Saturday night, it's going to be the big difference this week, and I think Kentucky's not as good as they were last year either. So I'm picking the Gamecocks. I think they're going to beat them by about 20 points or 20, 25 points. I think it's going to be a rout.
Well, and it might very well be. I'm just saying for marital harmony.
I'm all for that.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
And incidentally, this is the second time in 3 weeks you have used the phrase "quote unquote" SEC defense in talking about a game.
Sure.
The first time
that's fair.
First time didn't work out for you. I mean,
that is. It almost did. 14 points. That's not so bad there.
Let's hold off. And next thing I know, you'll be using SEC speed.
Okay, now let's not take it too far there, Dan.
Well, I'm just saying if you're going to fly the SEC flag. And you're going to be an SEC apologist, then you have to learn all of the SEC apologist terminology.
Well, I'm not jumping full on that bandwagon, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Okay, well,
I'm giving credit where credit is due.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Just pointing out this is the
Yeah.
second time in 3 weeks you have used the SEC defense. Well, you know what? South Carolina is going against an SEC defense too because it's an interleague matchup.
You got that right, but I think that SEC defense is better than this SEC defense.
I guess we'll find out.
All right. Thing number 2. There's been talk of a few college football coaches that are already on the hot seat just a few weeks into the new season this year. And, Dan, I want your comment and see. I'm going to name 4, and I'm going to see which ones you think are the most likely to lose their job. And if not these 4, someone else who's on a hotter seat as well. So, Kevin Sumlin at Texas A&M, Brett Bielema at Arkansas, Gus Malzahn at Auburn, or Brian Kelly at Notre Dame.
Oh, Sumlin without question, the hottest of the hot seat. I mean, you've got all the stuff going on with the Facebook comments by the Board of Regents guy.
Yep.
And then Sumlin, was it Sumlin or his wife made public the racist letter that was sent to him by a supposed Aggie fan. Look, they blow that huge 34-point lead in the third quarter. They have a 34-point lead in the third quarter to UCLA on the road, and they blow that.
Yeah.
And that game and the subsequent win the next week, ironically enough, took Jim Mora off the hot seat out in UCLA, at least for the time being. Sumlin's seat was already hot coming in. It is smoking now.
Oh, yeah.
They follow up that game with a 10-point win over FCS Nicholls State last week.
Yeah.
Very uninspired performance.
Yeah.
So this is what they've got coming up. All right? They play Louisiana Lafayette this week. Then they go to Dallas to the Cowboy Stadium to play Arkansas.
It's going to be a tough game.
They have South Carolina, then Alabama at home, and Florida in the swamp before hitting the bye week. 5 games before they hit the bye week. If they go 2-3 or 1-4 in those games, or 0-5,
yeah, it's possible.
They'll fire someone during that bye week.
No, I completely agree with that. I think he's definitely up there in terms of the hot seat.
And it used to be that you wouldn't see a coach get fired during a season, but that trend has changed. I mean, Dabo Swinney's got the job because Tommy Bowden was let go during the midst of the 2008 season, and the way administrators are looking at it now is that it gives them that much of a head start on other teams who are going to let their coaches go. And they may be going after the same pool of potential candidates.
Yeah, if you're not happy with the coach nowadays, there's no reason to sit around and let them finish up the season. There's plenty of reasons to try to get that new coach in there as soon as you can, not only for recruiting purposes, but just for like you said, to be able to actually get that head coach before others pounce on them. So I definitely think you're absolutely correct that if this 5-game stretch for someone is not somewhat successful, he will no longer be the coach down in at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think Brian Kelly is on the hottest seat right now, especially after his reporter blow up. I think that was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
He really interrupted a reporter. And since he was named the head coach in 2010, he's had mediocre success. He's only had 2 seasons where they won 10 games or more. They've only won. They're 3-3 in bowl games. They've been blown out in their 2 biggest bowl games: the BCS Championship and the Fiesta Bowl. I just don't see Brian Kelly sticking around for too much longer. They were 4-8 last year. In 2011, they had 21 stars return, but they only went 8-5. He's just not been the guy to fix their problems, I think, in South Bend. And whatever's going on up there, he is not the man to answer that. And I think he will be gone very, very quickly, if not before the year's over, but by year's end, he will be ousted as the Irish coach.
Yeah, what's intriguing about that is that really he's lasted this long, and that one championship game appearance obviously bought him some goodwill. I argue they shouldn't have been in that championship game, but
lost 42-14.
Yeah,
to a
that's
really good Alabama team.
Neither here nor there.
Yep.
I suppose. I look. I am not a Notre Dame fan. I am very, very critical of their arrogance, if for lack of a better word, about remaining an independent and expecting to be treated different than everybody else. When the BCS was the way we were determining who was going to be the champion, Notre Dame had a deal with the BCS that paid them X amount of money if they were in the BCS championship game, and $1 million if they weren't.
Yeah.
Who else has that kind of deal? They have
Not
their own
many.
television, and they're allowed to exist outside of the framework that all of the other teams in America who have legitimate national championship hopes have to play under. So, if you're looking for someone for sympathy for Brian Kelly or the Notre Dame program, you're looking in the wrong place, because they could go for the next 10 years and it wouldn't bother me.
I'm right there with you, Dan.
So
I have no stake and no reason to pull for Notre Dame. So
the other two coaches you mentioned, Gus Malzahn, he is starting to get a little bit of heat. A guy who's his resume says he's an offensive genius, and it just hasn't come together yet down at Auburn.
No.
But I say that they went to the Sugar Bowl last year, and now 2 games into this season, people are starting to say, is he on the hot seat? Well, when your quarterback gets sacked 11 times and you have 18 total yards in the final 3 quarters, and you're a supposed offensive genius, people are going to start talking.
Pretty embarrassing.
Yeah. Chip Lindsey is a new offensive coordinator. He was brought in, I'm reading a story here on CBS Sports, to provide what they say was going to be a different voice to a system that had not packed the punch over the last 2 seasons that it had at once. And 2 games in, it's not clicked yet. Now, 2 games is a very small sample size.
Absolutely.
But again, just remember, we're talking about a league in which a defensive coordinator was just fired 1 year and 2 games into his tenure at the University of Missouri.
Yep.
So if Malzahn feels like things aren't coming together and the heat is on him, he'll make some changes.
Oh, I think so.
He
has to at this point. I mean, they're not gonna settle with just average down in Auburn when you got Alabama right across the way contending for a national title year in and year out. So.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that they're always going to be judged by, fairly or unfairly, is being looked at as Alabama's little brother. So, and then the other guy you mentioned, Brett Bielema, the head coach at Arkansas. There's no question that he inherited just an awful situation when he took over after John L. Smith. But in 4 years, it hasn't seemingly gotten any better, and he left an awfully good situation up in Wisconsin, and for the most part, a program that continues chugging right along. He's not been able to get it going yet at Arkansas. They just got beat 28-7 by TCU, which in and of itself is not overly embarrassing, but in the bigger picture, it's just another instance of things seemingly not getting better in Razorback land. So in year 5, is Bielema, should he be feeling some pressure? I think absolutely.
Oh, no doubt.
Now, he nowhere near the pressure I would think at the moment of a Kelly or I just blanked.
Dangle.
A Kelly or a Kevin Sumlin. But exactly, turnabout's fair play. Is he going to feel a little bit of heat, and is the pressure starting to mount? Absolutely.
It's going to be interesting to see how these play out, especially with 3 of these coaches in the SEC. So obviously, not all of them can have success. So it's going to be kind of a fight to the top and see which one can maybe hang on to their job the longest.
Yeah.
So.
It is interesting. Of the 4 coaches who are considered to be on the hottest of the hot seats, 3 of them are from the Southeastern Conference.
Those SEC defenses.
Yeah, those SEC defenses, man. Amazing. right, it's 10:45. Doug Allison should be here shortly.
Cool.
So you want to quickly
Yeah.
run through thing 3?
Yeah, so the Indians won their 21st in a row yesterday. It's a new AL record and a 5-3 victory over the Tigers. They have a 104-run differential. Their starters during the streak have gone 132 innings and a ERA of 170, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And they tied the 1935 Cubs with a 21-game streak, and they only have the 1916 Giants to surpass, and they won 26 in a row in 1916. But there is a little bit of controversy over that. The 13th game of that streak, they tied. The Pittsburgh Pirates 1-0 because of the second game of a doubleheader, and it started to rain. There's no lights, no tarp, so they just called it. So the next day they played another doubleheader, and obviously the Giants won both those games and went on to win 14 more in a row for the 26. So my question to you, Dan, is with that one game in the middle of a 12 and 14 game winning streak, did the Giants win 26 in a row, or how are you going to?
My question would be, was the second doubleheader originally scheduled? In other words, were they going to play doubleheaders on back-to-back days anyway, or did they play a doubleheader the next day because they did not get to finish the first game?
That's it, because they did not get to finish the first game.
Okay, well,
but here's the thing: the stats for the players
count
in
the game
that first doubleheader, but the game didn't. So that to me is a little bit of a
that's the way it's been in Major League Baseball where rainouts are concerned.
Since 2007,
no,
prior to 2007.
Prior to 2007.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah.
So no, I'd say that winning streak is legitimate.
Mm-hmm. No, it's just tough. I want to say no, but at the same time, I think you're absolutely right, Dan, that the 26 games is legitimate because the game didn't count. There really was no true winner in that tie, and there's no way to determine the winner. That only way they could have done that is if they would have kept the game going at 1-1, but that's just beyond reach.
And Scott Keeler is losing his mind right now. What planet is a tie a win? You wouldn't care if it hadn't been for 21 in a row by your Indians.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, good debate right there.
No kidding. All right, let's go to break. We'll come back, and Doug Allison will join us here in studio. You are watching and listening to the Dan Scott Show, and we'll return in just a moment.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Hardware is your place. Williams Hardware has food for the whole family, from the famous Reuben to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT on pimento cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Hardware also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11, perfect before Furman home game. And don't forget their gift shop, which offers items for anyone on your list. Go see your friends at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at the Cafe at WilliamsHardware.com.
So you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPR Cell Phone Repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culver, today and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale, 864-282-9097. Give it CPR today.
Hey Furman fans, it's baseball season. Here at Ingles, we know that as you root for the home team, sometimes you want more than just peanuts and Cracker Jack. And while we do deliver on your favorite ballpark classics, we're proud to offer a packed lineup of everything you need to make your next meal a home run. Ingles, a proud sponsor of Furman Baseball and the official grocery store of Furman Athletics. Go Dins!
The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point offers a dining experience that will have you coming back for more time and time again. Everything is freshly made on site, including the different varieties of bread and all the baked goodies. And the menu, Atlanta Bread Company offers a wide variety from hot soups and chili to hot and cold sandwiches and paninis. Even breakfast selections topped off with your choice of piping hot coffees. Come see for yourself. You'll love it. The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point, proud sponsors of the Furman Paladins and the Dan Scott Show. All right, welcome back to the show. Dan Scott, Forrest Stulting. A somewhat harried, but here, Doug Allison has made his way into the studio, and we are happy to have him here. While we give him a chance to kind of catch his breath, let me tell you about CPR Cell Phone Repair. They are located in Cherrydale, right down the road from campus here. And you can see on the screen, there's the location. There's the number, 282-9097. They do cell phone repairs of all kinds. I had a cracked screen on my iPhone. They got it done in about 30 minutes. Normally, they say they can get them done in an hour. If you have any other kind of cell phone product, they can do almost any kind, any brand, and usually get it done the same day. They also do gaming systems and computers, and not just the screens. They can replace the hard drives as well. Under new ownership, Janet Culver has recently taken over, and she and her folks do fantastic work there, and I invite you to go check them out there in Cherrydale. They have for sale refurbished phones and tablets, and they also have brand new accessories for any phone and tablet. That is the good folks at CPR Cell Phone Repair in Cherrydale. Please tell them that you heard about them right here on the show. All right, the men's soccer program at Furman continues just to roll along, climbing up the national rankings. They can't be beaten at home. They can't be beaten on the road. And Doug Allison is saying, please stop saying stuff like that right now. Joining us here as he does every week when his schedule allows. How are you, man?
Fine, thanks. Just rushed over from practice. So,
well, we greatly appreciate it. We really do. What? I mean, I think the last time we actually had you in studio, you were getting ready to go to Colorado, and of course that turned out pretty well for you by the time everything was said and done.
Yeah, 2 good results out there against Denver and Air Force, and Denver hadn't been beaten, I think, in 37 home games or games at their stadium, and so that was nice to get a result there. And then the tough game actually was Air Force, because everyone expects you to win that game after you beat the number 4 team in the country, but they were so fit. I mean, it felt like the sun was on our head where we were. We played at noon, and really good game. But to get a shutout there as well was a good result.
The defense that your team's playing right now is pretty remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we've been fortunate. The ball's rolling our way a little bit there too, bouncing our way, whereas maybe last year it didn't. It may hit the post and come out. The last year it went in. So we'll definitely take it. The guys are well organized, well marshaled by Kevin Edelman and Kyle, who are our captains back there. So we've got an older group. Ben Hale's obviously done very well so far. He had a shared shutout with Johnny in the last game, but they're pretty well marshaled. They are tough to get through. They are. I mean, everyone fights for every ball, which is good. And being a contact sport, that's a good thing to teach them.
Yeah, so the game a couple nights ago against UNC Asheville, the first half was some of the most brilliant soccer I've seen on the offensive side of the ball that Furman showed in a good while. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, thanks. Having Brandon Tucker here working with them every day, he's a former pro and someone who played at the Rapids. And actually, by the way, it was a great trip for him out to Denver.
I'm sure, yeah.
He's from Denver, but having him work with those guys has been very refreshing as well. So I give a lot of credit to him, and but also the work rate of we've got a redshirt freshman, Nicole McLagan, and a local product, Connor Hubbard from Eastside High School. Has just done very well, but that's a product of a couple of years of work. They haven't just all of a sudden got that, and I made a big frame of reference for that in practice the other day when Connor actually did something poor. I brought them all in and said, Connor, you can't go back to that. You worked 2 years to get to where you are. Don't slack off. Don't go back. Our standards are higher, and the work rate of those kids is amazing. You see how hard they work to win a ball as a forward, and that's pretty rare to get.
You have 6 players have scored so far this season. How kind of important is it kind of spread it around and not have just one or two guys to focus on?
I think it's very important. I mean, obviously Lewis was our focal point in the last couple of years and being our leading scorer, and whereas we certainly miss him, it's to teams can't figure out who to watch because different guys are scoring and from different ways too, from set pieces or run of play, and we worked a lot on that stuff too. So everyone is contributing. There's other guys that still want to score, which is nice. I mean, they're all hungry, and Cole's got a couple now, and Connor's got a couple, but everyone, we can score from different areas. So one guy may be easier to snuff out. A lot of guys, it's pretty tough because what I like is different guys are stepping up in different games. And one of the Alex Ferguson once said that if you can get 8 of your 11 to play well, you'll have a good year, have a good team, you'll have a good year. I mean, and we've always tried to get 11 players of the top 14 players. Well, you got to get 8 of them because some of them are going to have an off day.
Absolutely.
And as they have an off day, whether it's mentally, they got something going on at home, they got something in the classroom, they physically or have had an injury or something, or their confidence is down, other guys step up for them. And if we can get 8 of the starting group to perform at a high level, that's a good thing.
Visiting with Doug Allison, the men's soccer coach here at Furman. His team is ranked 13th or 18th, depending on which poll you
or
pay
as high as
attention
8
to.
or 10.
Yeah,
so
just keep going right on
Thanks,
up.
Thanks, Dan.
Right? Blame your SID. Tell us about.
We'll tell Jordan that later for sure. I've seen the night at Ford Field.
That's
so
right.
Sure to mention
Listen. I throw him under the bus. He'll throw me under the bus. We have fun with it. Your redshirt freshman goalkeeper, Ben Hale, SoCon Player of the Week, National Player of the Week. SoCon's pretty smart. Guy wins National Player of the Week. They figure he should be the Conference Player of the Week too, right?
Yeah, they wait to see what happens. But he was hurt last year. He got tore his ACL in the national championship game for the DA for his Dallas team, and it was tough to take that phone call right before preseason. And so he's had a year of getting back, rehabbing with FC Dallas. Obviously being in school and it wasn't an easy year for him. I mean, mentally you go through different things. You come to college to hopefully play, and you have to just rehab. But that's a tough thing. So he actually took a leave of absence in the spring, went home, studied, lived at home, rehabbed with FC Dallas, which is his home club, but also went to school to get credits as well, and then came back in the summer and picked up from there. And you can tell how hard the kid works. I mean, we have to drag him off the training field. He's got that professional work ethic about him, and is someone that is nice to see in the goal. And I must admit, Johnny Smith, who was our starting guy last year because Ben got hurt, he pushes him. I mean, it's tough as a starter being a senior to have a freshman come in, and you can go one of two ways. You can, particularly as a goalie, where there's only one spot, you can say, I'm a senior, I'm done. Johnny's pushing him, and to Johnny's credit, it shows a lot about his mentality. Is I still want that spot, and I will push Ben to be the best he can be. That's why sometimes a team does well.
That's you no matter the sport, competition makes for better teams.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
We'll go back to the polls for a minute because you're number 8 in the Soccer America Top 25. You're number 10 in the Top Drawer Soccer Top 25. College Soccer News, you're number 13, and you're number 15 in United Soccer Coaches Top 25. Which one of these is the most legit? And don't say the one that's got you ranked the highest.
Well, it's certainly not the one that says we're 18.
That was last week's release. I'm sorry about that.
They're all done by different groups, maybe coaches or the NSCAA or whoever. But the main thing is trying to be there at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice to be recognized, the work of these guys, but they have to. It's on paper, and so just keep getting your wins, keep getting one at a time, and then let other people talk about you.
I just wondered if there's one that maybe the coaches pay more attention to, because college baseball is like this. There are a handful of polls for college baseball, and it seems like maybe these two sports have that in common, whereas football and basketball, it's really just one or two major
Top Drawer
polls.
is one that a lot of people look to because they seem to have their pulse on that. The Soccer Coaches one is one which kind of considers RPI as well. But when you look at that, then it's pretty subjective, because as you look at that, our region is the toughest region in the country. We are in there with all the ACC teams, South Carolina. So we're in a very, very tough region when it comes to the U.S. This is the new name of the poll. It's not NSCA anymore. And so we're in there with Chapel Hill and Wake Forest and Duke and South Carolina and Clemson and blah, 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 Notre Dame and all those teams who are all in that top 10. So that's our region. Then they get picked. Well, if you're second or third in that region, you can't be higher than second or third in the region from another region, of the 4 or 5 regions. And so we are actually in the toughest region, which maybe puts it down a little bit, but that's okay. We'll compete head-to-head like we've done with those guys. So that's okay.
One good thing about it, as you said, the polls are on paper. It'll all be played out on the pitch.
Yeah. It's and I like the attitude of some of our guys at the moment. We had a really bad practice yesterday. It was good to not play a game yesterday, and there was stuff that we had to get straight and in practice and on the field and stuff. And we're definitely still learning. That's for sure.
So you play South Carolina coming up here in about 5 days, and you're still the all-time goal scoring leader for the Gamecocks. And how kind of cool to kind of go back to your alma mater and kind of play against them and kind of almost really battle them and be almost better than them more times than not.
Well, first of all, going to PC is.
I knew it.
Sure. Yeah.
I knew it. Well, I was going to say Forrest violated Rule 1A for coaches. You never look past the next opponent.
We had a game Saturday, and both my
true.
assistant coaches played there.
Oh, wow.
At
Excuse
PC.
me.
So Brett was an alumni. He was a goalie there and played college golf there. And Brandon Tucker, that's where he played too.
Okay.
So that's going to be tough for them as well. Going over there, and Brett coached there for 15, 16 years. So I love having them here. I'm trying to stop them thinking about that, and then next week thinking about the other. But the other one at South Carolina is my old coach too, and he's still there, and it's his 40th year, I believe.
Wow.
And, he's such a gentleman, and he gave me my start and as a player and then as an assistant coach, and got the utmost respect for him. And wish him the best in all the games, but this one. But he's a quality man.
Well, you're continuing this an incredibly difficult stretch of road games to open the season, with only the Asheville game kind of breaking that up. But that's got to test the mettle of your team, and so far anyway, make you feel pretty good about what's still to come on this team if you prove you can win big road games.
Yeah. We're just still waiting for Andrew Burr to give us a little eke of a field every once in a while. So once we're on that, we're good. But I like playing on the road sometimes. Sometimes you get more focused on the road, to tell you the truth. The guys, maybe it's a travel squad, or maybe it's just the group that it's like we take it as a work experience. We take it as we're on a job here. It's a business trip. And sometimes you can focus just a little bit more. Now, I like going into other places and beating them at their own place and taking the crowd out of a game and that kind of stuff. But I must admit, for a rearranged game against Asheville, because of the hurricane and that, there was a great crowd there.
There was an incredible crowd.
The students really came out and were very vocal. Some of the things they were saying was quite funny. I was trying to stop our guys on the bench saying stuff, because the Furman kids are pretty funny. They're pretty clever.
They're bright kids, for
sure.
They
are. They say some stuff, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that to the other team. Thank God they're with us, But it was great for them to come out and see what these kids are doing. And I was talking to Cole McLagan on the Friday. I said, what are you doing tomorrow? Before our game. He goes, well, I'm going to football. We support them, and they support us. And that's the attitude our student athletes need to have.
No doubt.
I would imagine with your international soccer experience, you have heard more than your share of one-liners coming from the stands, right?
Oh yeah. There's been some good. I can't tell you some of them on this show.
I have a friend who's a major league umpire named Philden Culbreth, and when the show is over, I'll tell you what he told me. His best heckling line from a fan came from a little old lady.
Oh my!
But I'll tell you that off the air, just because it's a family show. No curse words, but I still don't want to share it. On the air. All right, so as we get set to wrap it up here, again, this is a a tough little 2-game stretch for you again on the road before a week from Saturday coming back for a massive homestand of 2 games.
Yeah, and that the first one, Gardner Webb, will be our Gray Griffin Memorial game, and when we honor Mr. and Mrs. Griffin and the loss of their son Gray, and hopefully we'll talk a little bit more about that next time. But that's a very important, as is the Quinn game on our schedule every year. I kind of put them twice. That's the 2 I look forward to, as far as alumni. Remembering, making sure people understand where they are and the importance of the program, and obviously Gray is I can't believe it's been so long, since he's passed away. But and then also the Quinn game for McNeil Cronin's little daughter, which is just an amazing thing, seeing the Down syndrome kids here. So we are able to do a lot of things through sport, and I think you should do those things, and you should highlight awareness of different things that people have, and just makes you realize how fortunate you are in the position you're in. And you worry about a game, you worry about a score, then you see on TV in the news at night what's going on in Florida or Houston or certain things around the world, and you're like, God, we just got to worry about a game. Now you want to win the game, but you still perspective is such an amazing thing.
I had a chance to interview McNeil Cronin after you and I did a session last year, and talked about not only his connection to the program, but his daughter and the game and everything, and the work that they are doing, and with that, the work you guys are doing on behalf of children with Down syndrome. That's phenomenal stuff.
No, thanks. I think it's very important. And another alumni alerted me to the fact that McNeil was doing that himself. There was a commercial that he was doing in Winston-Salem about Down syndrome. He was on the news, and then one of my other alumni, Andy Kidd, who's in Jacksonville right now, who was teammates with McNeil, had called up and said, "Have you seen this commercial, or there's a little clip that McNeil's done?" I said, "No." So he sent it to me, and then watching it, I was in tears. I'm like, well, wait a minute, that's not McNeil Cronin, my former player. This is McNeil Cronin, a dad, who's looking after his daughter. And I'm like, it changed my whole perspective of. I kind of became a granddad at that point, as well. And I'm like, wait a minute, these aren't players. These are men, and they're going out in their communities, doing good things in their community, which is probably the proudest thing that could happen to a coach.
Yeah, because that base started here.
Yeah, and certainly for him. And he was a terrific player. He was on the national team, and and then had a choice to play, but ended up going a medical route and become a doctor and stuff. And then having this happen to him and his wife, you're like, well, what are they going through? What's going on in their life every day? We see McNeil once a year or maybe twice, but they're with her every day, and they love it. They are such exceptional parents, but to see them now as parents, and to see them, it makes you kind of a proud coach, and only if you're here that long that you actually get to see them become parents, and how good they are with, and that's a lot more important than the results.
Well, listen, as always, we appreciate the time. I know it was a kind of a crunch time with practice today, but we appreciate you rushing over here, and let's make sure that again we continue to do this every week, and then next week we'll be able to spend hopefully a considerable amount of time on the Gray Griffin Memorial game.
Yeah, that would be nice. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Doug, thank you.
Thank you.
That's Doug Allison, the head coach of the nationally ranked men's soccer program here at Furman. And that's going to wrap things up for today's program. We got so carried away, we didn't even do a trivia question
I know,
today.
Just got excited.
So
this man right here. So
maybe we'll do 2 of them tomorrow.
There we go.
We'll be back with you tomorrow, and we'll continue to preview Furman and NC State and much more in the college football realm. Until then, for the coach, for Forrest, I'm Dan Scott, saying God bless you, and so long, everybody.